Welcome to the Rock the Stage Show. Each week, international media expert Rich Bontrager has in-depth and personal conversations with celebrities, top leaders, authors, speakers, and media professionals. Now, from the Rock the Stage studios, here's your host, the Trigger, Rich Bontrager.
Welcome back once again. Sunday night, 7 o'clock. It's Rock the Stage Show, and we are going to go back to the meat and potatoes of where this whole show began. Public speaking, presentation, and making it have the wow factor that you want to have. How to come alive and really present like the rock star that you really want to be. And tonight we're going to have one of those great guests on. But many public speakers aspire to be great. They want to have greatness. They want to make an impact. They want to change people's lives. That's really why most speakers get into it. But the thing is that the speaking world is extremely crowded. It's noisy, and it's a tight community. But we're all competing for the same stage. So it's a pretty strange kind of world. So how do you be competitive? How do you raise your brand? How do you do a great show, a great keynote, and stand out in the middle of this noisy, crowded community? We're going to get into that a lot tonight because our guest is a trailblazer, a top speaker for visionary organizations. She is a leadership speaker, best-selling author, award-winning businesswoman. Pegine goes by her first name, Pegine. It's like Trigger. It rolls right off her tongue, right? Pegine is it good enough because she says Oprah's good enough, Shakira's good enough, Beyonce's good enough. Why isn't it good enough for Pegine? By the way, she's presented with two presidents, two US senators or secretaries of state. She knows that you can't grow in life as a leader without being uncomfortable, taking risks, and being willing to laugh. Welcome to Rock the Stage tonight. One word, one name, that's all you need. Pegine, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm here with Trigger. This is the way that we start. I love it. You know, just to be here with you and being able to share some, my thoughts and ideas with you and everybody here. Thank you for having me. And everybody, hey, thank you for being here and watching us. We are going to have fun today, aren't we, Trigger?
There's a little whoop whoop in the house tonight, I think. Maybe a little bit of whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop. There we go. Whoop, whoop.
It's great to have you here, and I've enjoyed watching you virtually and seeing you in action. I mean, you have done it all. Author, speaker, businesswoman, you've really crushed it. When it comes to being that speaker that wanted to get out there, you really got out there, didn't you?
Yeah. I did not know what the speaking world was. I mean, I had no clue, which is really crazy because I was president of a direct selling company and we would hire speakers for our conventions, but it never entered my head that was a
Your
profession.
destiny?
Well, definitely not my destiny, but just that there was even this industry out there. And the way I got into it, I was doing lots of talk TV. Montel Williams became a mentor of mine. I was on his show 32 times. He did 2 full 1-hour shows with just me and him. And he's the one that pulled me aside in the green room and he said, Pegine, what are you doing? Nobody speaks the way that you do. Nobody does what you do. You need to be out there speaking, being a professional speaker. And I said, Montel, I don't know what you're talking about. And Montel will get really into face. I'll go really into face. And I was like, Montel, back off. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's the one said, you know what, this is how I got to TV. I was a speaker, a professional speaker.
Yeah.
And that led me to getting on TV. And it's like, okay, what be you? I had no concept. And so he gave me some insights of who I should join, put me in contact with some people. And I actually became exclusive with the Speaker Bureau before I was speaking because he opened the door. And
It's great to have people open up the door in this business. I mean, and Montel's a name I haven't heard in a year, but Montel Williams opening doors for you, that's great.
Yeah. And what was really interesting about all this stuff was, again, I had no idea what the speaking is. None. But that's how I got into it. And then there's the rest of the story.
Well, we're going to mine this all, but I'm interested on that first feeling because many of us talk about with our publicists or writers or our select team is like, I want someone to open the door. I'm going to step to that door. I recently had an interview on it with somebody else who the door opened up huge in 2025. And they admitted they had that gut reaction in their throat and their body of like, I'm really walking through this door. I've always wanted it, but I have no idea I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Do you recall that feeling of it happened and then, oh my gosh, I'm here?
I okay. Honestly, I didn't know what any of this was. I didn't know what he was talking about. I was on So at that point in my life, I was doing a lot of TV and speaking because I was running I had created a really interesting, um, what was called a family support center for, I worked with 1,000 young high risk girls every month.
Which we're going
And
to
I
get
had,
into.
right. And so what was happening was I would be speaking. So I testified in different congressional things. I was, congressional, uh, where they were investigating things. I would do that. I was a little bit feisty. I will admit I'm a little bit feisty. Montel won his first Emmy when I was doing some work on his show, and he kept on talking. And I told Montel, stop, let me handle it. I put my hand up, and he went, and that was his first Emmy that he won for his show. So I was on the show a lot, but I never, I was just being myself. I didn't know this. I didn't know this world that I was about to enter. And then 9/11 occurred.
Hmm.
3 years of contracts were canceled
Yes.
within days.
Yes.
And, I had moved to Florida, I had the house, I had the stuff. I was a primary, breadwinner at that time. And by December, I was getting really nervous. There was, suddenly I'm living, here we had been getting gigs and speaking and being
Yes.
paid well. I had left, my secure job. I was doing my thing. And now I was suddenly, holy crap.
Yes.
Like it was a huge holy crap. I'll be nice. There were other words that I used to
Well,
describe that.
and then everyone went through that with COVID. If they didn't go through with 9/11, they all went through the same feelings with COVID of the world shut down, our livelihood changed, and the stages are gone.
Yeah, and, let me tell you something, my attitude during COVID was totally different than everybody else's because I had been through 9/11.
I had the same thing because of other circumstances. I had the same thing where I'm cool while everyone else is going to hell in a handbasket, and the
Everybody was
friends were freaking out, but I've been there, done that already.
Yeah, yeah, everybody was yeah, and, I mean, I'll go with that with you, but what happened then was I called the bureau and I said, I need to generate income. I can't be exclusive. Remember, I knew nothing about this business, like zero, nada,
Right.
nothing, nothing, zero, nada. I had no idea how they were getting me gigs, no idea how they were selling, no idea how they were promoting me, no idea the leverage that they had, no idea that their connections were what was making it, had no freaking idea. But Mrs. Pompous, I can handle it. Let me go. I'm going to let you go because I'm going to do this stuff because I can generate it on my own. I'm going to do that stuff. So, like, I'm going to do this stuff on my own. Well, they never talked to me again after I did that because they were making a lot. Never talked to me again. And I went on my own. Well, let me tell you some secrets about that time.
Yeah.
One, there was no work. Two, who do you call? How do you call? Where do you reach out to?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm learning how to call. Hello, hello, hello. Do you have any gigs? Hello, hello. Can you hire me? Can you do, hey, friends, I'm a speaker now. Can you hire me? Suddenly I realized, oh, this job is not easy.
No. No.
It- if anybody thinks it's easy to get a gig, you're lying to yourself.
The burnout ratio is unbelievable for aspiring speakers that want to get on stage and they realize, wow, this is really hard. You have to
Yeah.
be, again, like you did, you dove all the way in at one point and said, sink or swim, I'm in.
Well, you know what? most people don't realize is 99% of your job as being a speaker and a paid expert
Yes.
is sales.
Yep.
99% of that job to have the 1% of glory to being on stage or being hired to be a coach or consultant,
Yes.
but you got to hone sales. I was lucky in that my previous life, I had been a salesperson. I had been a national sales manager before I ever went into working with girls. I had done all that stuff. I had run a business when I was 17 and a half. I had learned, I knew that how to sell. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know how to sell me.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. The hardest thing for all of us is we can sell other people. I can promote other people. I'm a genius when taking their colors, their brands, their stories, the if factor, and doing all that. Turn around to me and go, Rich, what are you doing for yourself? It's horrible.
It is the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yes.
It really is, because not only do you have to sell yourself,
Yes.
you have to sell your results in such a way, and I see this a lot where speakers get a little bit messed up. You have to be on as though you were on stage when you're on the call. Because if you're in salesperson mode, if you're in I'm, you know, I'm an expert in this and you really want me on the stage, you will lose a deal. You
Yes.
have literally 15 to 30 seconds to capture their who they are,
Yep.
but then you have the next, if they want to keep on talking to you, you've got to be on, like exactly when you be on the stage. You got to be excited. You got to have the stories. You got to move, groove. You got to show
Yes.
that you know how to do this. You have to listen to them. You have to apply it. You have to adjust it. You have to bring it back. You have to say, and this is what it's going to cost you. And if that is a whole art in itself, but
Well,
it
I've
is.
had people tell me I'm doing calls and they said, Rich, you don't have to do your radio voice. I'm like, I'm just naturally doing what I do. When I'm on, you're on. You get that flip a switch thing and it goes on naturally after a while. And some people do freak out. They're like, man, I was just talking to Rich. Now I'm talking to Trigger. It's a weird thing for people, right?
Well, it's so the thing about it is the decision makers need to trust you that you are who you are on stage and off a stage,
Yes.
right? They really. So, I mean, from my perspective is the moment I get the gig, every time I talk to him, I'm on, right?
Mhm.
But the moment I leave my house, before I even get to the moment I leave the house, I'm Pegine, the professional speaker. It
Yep.
doesn't mean that I'm Pegine different than who I am, because let's just be clear on something. Like, I'm married 40 years, 41 years. We've been together for 38 years. That man would go nuts if I was constantly, "Hey, sweetheart, how you doing? Come on, sweetheart, I love you so much. Come on, come on, give me, go." There are times, and he'll be the first one to tell you that he teases me. He goes, "Oh, is this the angry one? Why are you so angry?" I'm like, "Stop! I'm a happy, positive person. Why do you do that?" But he teases me because we can. Am I different? No. Am I the same person? Yes. Do I have fun talking? But you got to know this business to be that way. So,
So let me go to your persona performance. You are jacked up. You have your own theme music. Many people have their bumper music, but you have your own song. You are talking to the crowd, breaking the glass as you come in. You're whoop whooping every now and then you get them singing with you, and if they're not singing, you're calling them out. You
mhm,
are a jacked up woman. You
yeah,
set that energy from the minute you walk in. So you're part entertainment, you're part fun, you're powerful wisdom. And which one of those three is the most important aspect for you? Is it the fun, the entertainment, or the wisdom that's really the most important to you?
great question. Um, so for me, and it's something I built my business on. The most important thing for me is Can they remember what I said and apply it in 6 months? Will they apply it?
Right.
Like if they can say, that's why for me, I must have chants. I must have mantras in my program. I must have them do recalls. It's my style. It's what I do so that they'll go, be bold, be brave, be seen, be heard, and be paid well. Those, when I'm
Yeah.
doing that, you'll see them in the hall. Be bold, be brave, be seen. You'll see them in the car, and I challenge them to do it in the car when they're driving home.
Right.
And okay, I got to tell you the story, which
Yeah,
is
please.
so it's so critically important that people can remember my mantra, which is the core of whatever I'm speaking on. I create
Yeah.
the mantra for that because when they need it, they need to access in their brain really fast.
Yep.
So if I were asking your audience, you're watching me right now. You're all watching me. Great. Thank you. Yay. Hey, Trigger. Thank you. So I'm going to say this. If I say nationwide and I go, what are you going to say?
Is on your side.
Exactly. Notice you were triggered, you heard it, you
Yep.
remember it. You don't even want to remember it, but you have to
No,
remember it, right? If I said,
have it your way.
have it your to all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame bun. Now I'm aging myself because not many people can do that,
No,
but
that's
we
generationally a
all
long time ago, but
we
it's still with us.
still sticks in my freaking head, doesn't get out of my freaking head at all. So somebody sent me a social media
Yeah.
post, and I was like, I was furious with them because you know what it was? This is the song that doesn't
Oh,
end. It goes on and on, my friend.
I thank you for that
You
worm
know?
today.
Right. So now you
We,
get the worm.
we all
I
do.
love worms. So I like infusing worms in all of my presentations
Yes.
because that's what they're going to remember.
But
I could
that's what
be
most people are missing. They're great information. They're presenting to a T and hitting the mark, but then it's like they walk out and they don't remember any of the key things. So how you're blending the entertainment with the buzz, the pop, those simple phrases, and by getting to repeat it, that's where the glue's at. And that's what many speakers are missing, the
absolutely.
glue of keeping it with you.
The glue, making it sticky. So I've done tremendous amount of work for years and years and years with all branches of the military. Spend lots of times on bases, lots of time, and both my kids served. So one of the things that I really um, learned from doing a lot of work with them was that all those marching songs, the
Yes.
cadences,
Yes.
all of that plays a huge role to help them remember the things that they need to remember when they're out intense, challenging times.
Have you ever run into, I mean, again, you're high octane, you're women empowerment. You exude that confidence and that aspiration for other people to get up their butts, ask for their job, rise up, speak for themselves, all this. Have you ever run into afterwards, you inspired them too much? Now they're asking for everything, including the kitchen sink and the women live power movement and all backing it. And instead of being helpful, it unleashed a force that you never meant to unleash.
If that had occurred, if that has occurred, I would be the happiest puppy in the whole freaking world. It's not happening, and I'll tell you why. I mean, statistically, we could look at
Yeah.
this, right? So statistically, when you look across like Fortune 500 CEOs,
Yeah.
there used to be the grand total 10 years ago, the grand total
Yeah.
of 10 women as Fortune
Exactly.
500 CEOs.
Hmm.
Like, we were like, yes. Now we're down to 4. So
Wow.
yeah. So there's a couple of things that are going on. It's one is Trigger. You guys do not make those jobs look like fun. Like
Oh,
you look at some of these people. They don't look like they're having fun.
not at all.
They don't even look like they like what they're doing.
No.
They look they look freaking miserable. Why would anybody want to be miserable? So
Right.
women are much more looking at balance, and
Mhm.
they like being happy, right?
Yes.
Let me tell you something. I give it the best way for me to describe is, I moved up to rank. When I came back to the States, I started a receptionist, Pierre Cardin. I ended up getting into doing sales, but I wanted to be like a big time salesperson. And I would meet Tony, who was the top salesperson for the company.
Mhm.
I would come in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I would work with him how to lay out stuff, how to sell the stuff, how to do this all the time. Nobody would ever give me the opportunity.
Right.
I mean, I was good. I was really, really good. I was really good. But I did two things that got my name known. One
Mhm.
was Tony knew me because I was there. I was doing the work, right?
Right.
Practicing with him. The second thing is every Friday I handle the board. So people come, hello, Pierre Cardin Gant, hello, can I help you? Hold on 1 minute, please. And I was doing all that stuff.
Right.
But at Fridays at 3 o'clock, the boss, the president of the company, left every Friday at 3 o'clock
Yep.
before everybody else. So I could see, I had big glass doors in front of me. I could see when he went out, got into the elevator, got downstairs, and left, right? And then I would do the Friday Pegine show. Hello, everybody. It is time for the Pegine show. And now we're going to go on. So we got a new color in today. We got a new color in of shirts today. All of you over here. What is the color of the new orange? Now it's not orange. What is the color? The first one to call me, you're getting a full trip to the Bahamas. I'm rating. So this is going over the paging system. And people would call and say, the new number is SKU 246. You're right, Tony. You won a trip to the Bahamas. So I would do this on Fridays. So this one day, Ed, the boss, left. I saw him leave. I went down and said,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, all right, it is the time. We got a brand new shirt. What is the new shirt? Tell me about the collar of the shirt and the SKU number. And it's going to be the number hit for Christmas time. What is it? Ready to go. Get a phone. Hello, and who is this? This is Ed Saunders, the president. And I had a decision to make at that moment. I said, welcome, Ed. What is the new SKU number? And he said, the SKU number. He goes, come to my office. I went, all right, I'm on my way to deliver the prize to you. And I hung up the phone, and you heard everybody's door going boom, 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 boom. I swear you could have heard a dun, 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 dun. That was that.
Yep.
I swear you could have heard it. It turns out that Ed doesn't like firing people. So I met with Ed, and Ed said, you think you got some balls? I was already getting fired. So I just said, Ed, I don't have little balls. I'm a woman. I have breasts. And because Monday morning you meet with the office manager. Okay. So I come in Monday morning at 7 o'clock to work with Tony. Tony's not there. So I started laying out stuff. At 8 o'clock, in comes Ed, Macy's, and all of their buyers are coming for a big presentation that Tony was going to do
Wow.
to Macy's. This was a huge, huge deal,
Yes.
right? Turns out Tony was in a car accident and he was in the hospital. They called, no cell phones back then, but
Yeah.
got a hospital call, and his wife said to tell Ed, Pegine knows what to do. And Ed comes out and goes, so you think you got balls? You're going to come and sell it. I don't have balls, but I will come in and do the sale.
Yeah.
And I sold more than had ever been sold to Macy's before.
Wow.
And that's how I got my first promotion. Didn't get any money from him, didn't get any commission. Tony got the commission. He's all good and all that stuff. I say that story because I do realize that a lot of times why I moved up rank and became director of sales and national sales manager and international sales manager, and then all the stuff, when the only women that are around were one other salesperson
Right.
and then lots of secretaries. Well, what was I doing that nobody else was doing? Is I was still being a gang member. Like, freak you all, what do I care? Like, just I'm going to be me. And so that's what I try to bring the flavor of. That's why I tell everybody, be powerful, be you, really be you, and ask for what you want. It was after that that I was able to ask and say, "I wanna be a sale I'm gonna be a salesperson." When I literally told them, "I saved you today. I'm a great salesperson. You want me to be in sales."
So let me bring this back around to the speaker world that we began with, and you're weaving this just goldenly. But a lot of speakers are creatives, but they don't think of themselves as being creatives. They're speakers. And I'm finding more and more the release of your inner creativity takes you to a higher level, but you have to get over yourself to just step in and let it be. Like you just said, screw it, I'm going to do it. And
Right.
you kept doing it and kept doing it. What can you say to those that are trapped? I don't want to go too big, too expressive, but I'm creative and I'm confined, but I don't want to do it, but I don't want to do it. Where's that conflict and how do you get over that? Say, I'm here.
Well, so there's a couple of things that I think are really critically important about that. Is one is, the nature of the business now is different than it was 25 years ago, I
Oh,
think,
yes.
right? So now you have to be eclectic. You have to have a lot of you have to have what I call the daisy. You have to have a lot of different ways to generate income
Yes.
to go. So you have to have your speaking, coaching, your online courses, your books, your masterminds, your book clubs. You have to create this daisy
Yes.
so that when you're talking to somebody, you can quickly say, all right, I can put together this and this for you. Does this fit? So that you become a resource for the clients that you're working with. In order to do that, you have to be creative. Now, we're lucky. We are so lucky, especially this year, is that we have AI. So you can say to any AI, saying, I speak on, I speak on
Stuttering,
home.
which I speak on. So
Okay, okay.
stuttering.
I speak on stuttering. Give me 5 ways of where I can maximize the tools that I've learned about stuttering and who are the perfect clients for me and what kind of services can I provide that generates income for me and what can I create? And you ask AI and they'll go like AI in 30 seconds goes, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you could have this online course and you have this. And they go, great, I'm going to do an online course. Can you write an online course for me about stuttering for sales? Salespeople who stutter.
Right.
Can you create a course for me? Sure, I can. Blah, 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 and then 30 seconds it's spit out. Now, here's where the magic lies. While it's spilling out and you can receive it, you could download it, you could print it out. It's not an AI thing until you start talking and showing your personality, your authenticity, your way.
Yes.
I got to tell you, Trigger, you and I can give you a script and I could give myself the same script. I will tell you, we will both do it completely different. First off,
Exactly.
most of us will throw out the freaking script and do our own thing. But if we were given a script, we would just do it differently. And that's the power of what we do, the speaking. We bring our personality and our
Oh, we
authenticity
have
in.
to.
So that's number one, is
Yep.
you have to know you have a tool, AI, that can help you be creative. Number two is you have to be willing to be your most authentic self. I
Yes.
mean, let me tell you something. Rip the freaking Band-Aid off.
Yes.
You How long are you going to hold on letting your mother, your father, your old boyfriend, your own girlfriend from the time you were 16 who told you you weren't smart enough, great enough, interesting enough,
Yes.
fun enough? How long are you going to let them dominate your life? There comes a point where you go, freak you all.
Yeah.
I'm just, I, I,
This is
pull off the
me.
band aid, right?
This
This is
is
who I
me.
am.
Be you.
Yeah, just pull off the band aid and be that. And then the third thing that I think that people don't realize how critically important, I think it's pretty important being an entrepreneur. I think it's critically important in what we do is have courage. That these are super courageous acts that you have to do. I, I just did a post today about focus. I have to focus on what my mission is. I have to focus on what I do. I have to be on such a mission. I am like the freaking Joan of Arc. I have faith. I have belief in myself. Nothing. I'm going to go over, under, around, through.
Hmm.
no matter what, to get to where my next step is, and it takes a lot of courage to do that.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I don't have days where serious I don't get dressed up. I'm in my pajamas. I take the blanket, I pull it over my head,
Mhm.
and I go, there are easier ways to do this. But it's not my mission. It's never been my mission to make it it's never been my mission to not do what I'm supposed to do.
Well, but you talk about lead and lead with authenticity. So
Yeah,
find out who you are, be who you are, lead with who you are, and be authentic about it.
absolutely. I say here, I say you got to be bold, be brave, be seen, be here. You got to know it, own it, and share it. Oh yeah, you got to know it, know who you are, know what you're about, know your guy, know your thing. You got to know it. You got to own it. You got to work it. You got to go in. I am not. I'm sorry. I'm not a petite little thing. I'm. I got stuff to hold on to. I'm like you got to know that about me, right? You got to know that I'm going to be full on. But so I have to own that. I have to own it. I have tried. I have tried to be sweet and innocent, and I've tried trigger.
Well, I tried to be the Italian soup professional,
I've
and people
tried.
kept saying, "Where did you go?" I said, "But
Oh,
I'm a professional. I mean, people are hiring me. I've gotten like, where did you go? You're the fun guy in the room. Everyone loves you. Everyone thinks they're your best friend, even though you just met them. Where did you go?" And I was literally told by great colleagues, "Go back to being you."
yeah. Oh,
And it was the best thing I ever heard.
do you want to hear? For everybody watching, there's a big thing about doing online courses, and you could sell them to companies and organizations. And I had set up a studio. I was having my videotape. We had this course. We're going to create this course. I had 52 different classes. Oh, I was hot. I got it. I was there. My biggest client at that point was General Motors. They did a lot of business with me. And I said to them, I have a full course that you can do online, put it in your system, show it to everybody. And I mean, I was really proud. I was like, check me out. I got this course. Oh, we're gonna sell. We had a big meeting about it. They watched the first two 5-minute segments
Yeah.
and they called me up, said, we can't use it. I said, what? What? No, we can't use it. I said, why? Because we don't know who that person is, but she's sure not Pegine.
See?
So training and development for myself. How do I be me on camera
Yes.
and not sound and stay focused on what I'm trying to teach
Mhm.
without sounding like a teacher?
Yeah.
It is extraordinarily difficult for me. Like really difficult. So for me, what I've had to do for my courses is I will hire a producer who can kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
They're behind the scenes, but they're throwing me I give them, this is what we're going to talk about. I give them the questions, but because I know that somebody's there, I can feel your vibe and I could get to you. I could be with you in the vibe. It's when nobody's there that sometimes the vibe is hard to find. So do you see back here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
wait, let me put
You
it.
got all the pictures back there? Yep.
Those are all Barbie dolls.
Oh.
So the Barbie dolls represent some of the industries that I work with.
Ah.
So I will take a Barbie doll or two and I will put them here
That's what I coach people.
so
That's
that
exactly what I do.
I'm talking to the Barbie doll. Like,
Yes.
hey girl, hey, like, so
Yes.
there's a sense of this, right?
Yep.
And because otherwise it's hard. It's
It
hard. I don't.
is.
So for all those people that are looking at creativity and I'm creative, it's being creative,
Yes.
courageously willing to be yourself.
So let me go to one of the things that you do love talking about.
Mhm.
So I love talking about passion projects, things that we have our personal causes. but your high risk kids that you mentioned way back in the beginning of the show, but you personally have a passion for this. It's not just a cause for you. You work with the Girl Scouts, the Pace Center for Girls. Why are you so focused on that? And again, thank you for doing that because it's needed. But with
Yeah.
everything else you got going on, why are you passionate about that?
Listen, um, I'm really grateful for two things. I was a Girl Scout when I was in the gang. My mom signed me up for a new program that they were trying to recruit gang members and stuff. So, and Mrs. B, who worked on Wall Street, was a single woman. She was she, she was tough. I mean, tough. The battle for so I was signed up, and there were three of us, three girls from three different gangs, which you never put three gang members from three different gangs together. And we were there, and Mrs. B came in and said, "You're all here." And I mean, we were like this. Imagine us around there, like at St. Paul's Church. Like, oh, great, my mom put me in this. I got to be here. She came in. She was smoking cigarettes in the church, and she did, "Girls, I'm not your typical Girl Scout leader. We're not going to do arts and crafts. We're not doing any of this cookie stuff. What I am going to tell you is you three girls have potential because you're only three girls. You're willing to be tough. You're willing to fight. Well, I'm going to show you what it really looks like to fight because you think you're tough. You're not as tough as any of us women in Wall Street. I'm going to teach you." And she would take us down to Wall Street every Wednesday. She'd pick us up in the Bronx. We'd take an hour ride all the way down to Wall Street, and she would walk us around all. And if you were a woman who worked in Wall Street and you had your pocketbook and your briefcase, she said, "Stop, stop. You need to talk to these girls." I never forget Mrs. B. I wish I knew her real name, but I
Yeah.
only know her Mrs. B. So I'm really intense about it. And the second thing was after I was president of the direct selling company, I just had this feeling that I had to go back and work with high risk girls.
Hmm.
So I went back to college. I got my master's in social work, and you remember I'm a sales background, so I ended up working for the Salvation Army, and then I did some innovative stuff to teach women how to sell. Because if I could teach a woman to sell, she will never be out of a job,
Right.
right? So I had these girls, and I used to practice. Talk about the law of attraction. I used to practice having a TV show. And these girls would be the stars sharing their story of how they changed their lives.
Yeah.
Had lights on, just like the lights here that, we had lights and I go, "And now we're at the Pegine show. So we're going to talk. And tell me how to." So I did this and we would do this all the time. I said, one day somebody's going to call us up
Yeah.
and you're going to be ready.
Mm.
Well, about 7 months later, that's when Montel Williams' show called. And they said the mayor's office had said, "You have to know Pegine and her girls." And they said I wasn't even there. My staff said, "Oh yeah, we have girls that are prepared to be on TV," because we had been practicing all this for months. It was part of
Right.
my program for them. But I never had the intention that we were going to be on TV. So they interviewed the three girls that were ready,
Yeah.
and they asked the girls, why did you change your life? Why did you leave the gang? These were
Yeah.
girls from the Cribs, the Bloods, the Latin Kings. And they said, "Oh, you don't know Pegine. She doesn't allow you to change. She doesn't allow you to fail." So Montel heard about this, and Montel is the one that said, "Get that woman on the show." And I went on the show, and that was the one that he won the Emmy Award, because I was like, I didn't know anything about being on TV. I just knew the work that I just knew what I did. And so he was
Yes.
interrupting me. And that's why I said, "Stop, let me do my work." And it was an amazing show. And then he had me on all that time. And I did everything, every show except for Oprah and Jerry Springer. And I was on all those talk shows at that time. And,
Phenomenal. While we
and
have time, I want to make sure we get your website up because people need to go check you out, learn more about you. So, what are they going to find?
oh,
Again, website. What are they going to find there?
well, if you go to piggying.com, I'll tell you a couple of things that you can find. One is you to see my demo reel of like my me. I am exactly what you see now, you'll see there. It's just who I am. What you're also going to get is if you scroll to the bottom, you could sign up and get the 50 success secrets of feisty, fearless, focused females. And it's an ebook, and then you get a bunch of other stuff sent to you throughout. But that's what you get over there. Now, I'm going to tell you something for my guys. I'm telling you, especially if you have girls, you want to go sign up for this stuff and you absolutely want to bring me in because I will tell you that I'm guys that know me really well. First, they laugh their butts off when they hear me present. But number two is they are so um, they so realize that a lot of the things that I teach and talk about are for them too, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not it's a universal thing. I just choose to focus on power women because not for anything, 52% of the population happens to be female, and every single man was actually birthed by a woman. So, like, hello, you might want to consider where you came from. Um, and so just go to the site, get that. You'll see a lot of things there, but especially get the book. It's free. It's awesome. It's great. If I say so myself, it's
A
the truth.
true salesman all the way through it. That's beautiful. As we wind down, we've been talking about public speaking, the stage. What do you think today's biggest challenge is for the speakers now? So much has changed. It's radically is different. But what would you say is the biggest challenge for speakers as we're back out there again?
So I think that the biggest challenge for speakers is recognizing that um, people scroll all the time.
We are
So
competing with that. We are.
you are competing against the scroll. So where you think that you have 10 minutes to share your pontificating thing, you have to know this is a rock show. This is a concert. Your speech is a concert. And if you look at share, you look at all the people, um, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, everybody, they have these hour to hour half shows of which they have. Now let's look at that. 3 minutes per song. They have a song base, 3 minutes, and they're shifting. They're shifting an emotion. They're shifting a costume. They're shifting a message. They have things going on, which means that your speech has to be entertaining, electrifying, educational, informative. Get the audience involved, make them feel they're part of it, and they build this family. So that means you have to be breaking 3 minute into 3 minute segments your 1 hour speech. What are they thinking? What are they going to feel? Is this an up moment? Is this a down moment? And you better have a roller coaster of emotions throughout your program because you are going to lose them. You must do this. Now, here's the other piece. So you have a 60-minute speech broken down to 3 minute segments that are going on: story, point, interaction, story, point, interaction, story, point, interaction. And if you think for a second that you can talk like this and be a monotone the whole time and think that somebody's go lucky, you are not going to get rehired.
Again, this has been amazing, wonderful, and again, Beyonce, begin, share, begin. You own it. You rock it. Thank you for being on the show today.
Hey, Trigger, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, do it.
You want me back, don't you?
I absolutely want you back, but
Okay.
I want to share a stage with you. I
Oh,
want the two of us to be on stage together.
oh gosh, they won't know what hit them. We're going to have
They-
to give them.
They're going to raise the roof, blow it up, and rip it off.
We're going to do this, and we're going to have puppy pads so that they don't pee in their pants as they're laughing so hard.
Begin. Great to have you on Rock the Stage tonight.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
So there we go. We have dug deep into that whole world of public speaking, entertainment, magical doors opening up. Montel Williams, holy cow. But I want to go back to what Begin mentioned. With all those great points he mentioned at the end, it won't work if you're not authentic. With all those bells and whistles, with all those spokes in the wheel going on, the magic that works is we can take the microphone, take the camera, juggle all those things, and still be authentically you. It's the glue. It's the magnetism that will pull people further and further, closer and closer to you. And that's going to do it for this week on Rock the Stage Show. I'm the Trigger, Rich Bontrager. We'll be back again next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll always dive into an amazing guests, magical topics, and you never know who's really going to show up on Rock the Stage Show.